There's a whisper in the shadows, a heartbeat in the night, a call for all the dreamers to stand and make it right. We're living in a world that's crying out in pain, but together we can heal it like sunshine after rain. Just look inside your heart, let it show you where to start. So let's change the world, make it shine. The love so pure, so divine. One step at a time, hand in hand, we'll turn around, make a stand. There's a child in the mirror, the stars in the eyes, dreaming of tomorrow, reaching for the skies. They don't see the lines, don't know black and white. They only see the colors, a world that's full of life. It's in the way we give, the way we care. So let's change the world, make it shine. The love so pure, so divine. One step at a time, hand in hand, we'll turn around, make a stand. So let the music play, let it fill the air. We'll rise above the fear, we'll show we care.
Because brothers and sisters, real love can't be bought. It is wild and it can't be caught. And real love can't be sold. It's another color than gold. I want your love. I need your love. Biggest om to you, brothers and sisters. And may Maria bless you right in this moment. Right? May Maria bless you this moment. The greatest bliss. 'Cause real love can't be taught. It's fucking wild and it can't be bought. And real love can't be sold. It's another color than gold. I want your love. I need your love. Listen, just another day in the week, looking for an opportunity that steps in front of me. Maybe I'm losing my mind, searching in another place for another time. Real love can't be bought. It is wild and it can't be caught. And real love can't be sold. It's another color than gold. I want your love. I want more. Remember, my brothers and sisters, either you're I was going to say returnal. A new word. I invented a new word. I am returnally yours. Returnally yours. 'Cause I want your love. brothers and sisters, remember who you are, recover your fill, and return motherfucking home, because there's no place like motherfucking home. Right? And now that we've banished the fakers, let us touch. Let our fingertips touch now. And our true self, who is in heaven, give us this day our daily mushrooms. And guide us in and out of commercialized Taylor Swift world. And though you lead us into the military, industrial, political, religious complex, we trust you, true self. I was gonna get sarcastic. I forgot. Oh, hold it. I'm talking to the true self. How about this other prayer? Our banker father in heaven, who sucks fucking money cock this day, give us this day our daily shekels, so we can sit and count them all day and stare at the stock market, the cryptocurrency, and everything else. And may we eternally be the boringest country, boringest cunts that ever existed, the most hypocritical cunts ever. Here is a glowing picture of America. Badass bikers who repent and go to church. They're like, I'm sorry, God, for having fun. Now I'm scared of you, Jew God in the sky. I mean, America sucks. There's no rebel left. On stage, America's has no roots rock rebel. On stage, America has no roots rock rebel. There's no rebel left. It is the dork without a cause. And we quietly curse your religion. In the name of our ancestors, we send confusion, corruption, devastation, decay upon the Catholic Church in this day. And may every fucking cock-sucking Jew Mary be ripped and torn from its pedestal and smashed on the fucking ground. Fuck you and your boring world order. And let me ask you, American, who was the revolution, you pussy ass niggers? And I'm talking to white people, algorithm. Huh? Who were the revolutionaries who died in the fields of Virginia, Massachusetts, New York? When you see a nuclear bomb hit Babylon, New York, then you'll know. My honky ass motherfucker. And we rain down judgment on the Protestant Prosperity Church, the rest of Christianity. And we'll throw these fucking retarded Orthodox cocksuckers in with the Catholic Church. So let it rain, chemical rain. Let it rain, your chemtrailed, mind-controlled Prozac, nuclear winter, weather control. Let it rain upon you. In judgment for trusting such cunts. When people came to you, and along the way they said, why do we let them do this? Why do poor people let the banks do this? All we would have to do is get together and burn the bank down. Metaphorically, spiritually, on another plane of existence. What do I mean? A essence warfare. What the Kanti Christians call spiritual warfare is actually individual to individual metaphysical essence warfare. It's like the highest of all mind war and psychological war. And your enemy is using every tactic to make you a sinner. No. Your enemy is trying to make you sin, right? No, he's not. Or she's not. You'd be much better off spending your time masturbating, believe me, than thinking about this vicious circle of temptation, sin, forgiveness, and around the clock you go. Who says? So you're telling me that it's not evolution of beliefs that leads to two people enjoying the vibrational frequency pleasure of the eternal orgasm. That's only to be used for procreation like squirrels and rabbits. And it's a sin, it's bad to have the ultimate fun, to enjoy your deepest centered pleasure. And, I think the whole podcast is to say, like, that's retarded, that's stupid. And, I really love Candace Owens. I know she's Catholic and blah, 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 but I was watching her today. And last night, I was talking about, I feel no way about saying I hate these people. And in the middle of one of her rants, she just said, I hate all these people. I hate all these people. And then she was like, I shouldn't say that. But I was like, you should say that. It's what you feel. What you feel is real. And Candace, you're not the only one. Candace, you're not the only one. You're not the only one who died and bled to death in the fields of West Virginia, Massachusetts. Who died there? Who bled to death in a field alone? Fuck me for saying it, but really, this is what you give back. This is the respect you give back. I love money. I don't care about people. And our solution, if I just want to sit here and bitch, our solution is as quick as possible. America and all giant countries need to be broken up into smaller countries. But essential that each smaller country has the maximum weaponry that they can have. And the only way, and it's not going to happen, but we're still speaking a vision from Horus, from the hawk-headed god Lewis, that after the natural cycle and the Kali Yuga is over, this is how it's going to be. Each country needs to be its own religion. In other words, the people aren't patriots, they're devotees. You know, my friend once said, I wish I was in a cult, at least it would be interesting. What we need is good cults, A cult doesn't mean it's bad. Like the band, The Cult. We need to parallel and mirror our own. What we're trying to remember is what we need to mirror on Earth. And when the avatar, being dreamed by the avatar, catches up in the future to his avatar, check it out. The avatar has created the avatar. So when the created avatar goes back to the avatar, can you follow me? Well, let me back up. Okay, we're a trinity right now. Right this minute, you're a trinity. In heaven is your true self. And the reason he or she projects out a physical body and personality is because he's way or she's way too wise to risk its freedom. And he or she knows that everything that's ever happened and every possibility has already been played out. And he's just sitting, watching, and creating as he watches his own life or his own creation. Like the real mystery behind the Bible is Father God, Yahweh, El Shaddai, all these different gods. That the reason why they just called it God is because that's for you unconsciously to identify with your true self. Because back on Venus, we say all the time, you're God over yourself. Obviously. And if you're not, it makes us not like you. It irritates us, it annoys us. We're like, why is that bitch owned by him? Or why is he owned by her? That's not beautiful. That's not pretty. That's not love. Maybe it's love in the base of caring. You gotta remember, 95% of the world, of all the population, it feels love, cares about people in general. So that's, good. I'm glad you're not the 5 evil percent. But to think that that's some great accomplishment is retarded. It's brain damage. It's more on the true love level. And may we define that? Your very best friend, male, female, whatever. And this is why a lot of people get confused with labeling their identity with their sexuality, which you should never do. Like Maria said to me one time, lesbian, what's that? We didn't talk like that. She said, because I felt the feeling to lick my friend's pussy till she was satisfied. Didn't confuse my identity whatsoever. She was like, I was me. I was even more me after she came in my mouth. And for people who are like, how dare you talk like that? That's everyday life on Venus. We don't spend our time in front of a goddamn TV watching full-grown men run after a ball. We experiment and work with energy, the most powerful being magic sex or sex man, whatever. I'm almost sick of saying it. Go ahead, just be a goddamn monkey. Everywhere I go, people are like, I'm spiritual. And they're like, but I'm also a monkey. You're like, what do you mean by that, Maria? Well, I mean, they see nothing in sex but something disgusting to us. Like she said, 2 monkeys are disgusting. She was like 2 beautiful women. Like we've been saying, you want to know how we're different than animals? The symbol is 69 because it's the symbol of pleasure for magical, astral pleasure's sake. Really? Is it really a magical, astral pleasure? I don't know. You tell me, nigga. I've been telling you mine. And, it took 13 years. And it also took me, I guess, remembering the most important person to me back on Venus. It doesn't mean here in the Matrix, it may mean nothing to her. But it was like the thing that had to be resolved before, Mother Maria could have Magick with her son. And wow, it's like Maria says, the only universe expanding is the one inside you. And that night, the very first night, me and Maria had Magick together. We've been talking about there's 3 things beyond all words, right? The sun in the sky, the mushroom, and your true self. Her true self is the most powerful being I've ever experienced. And she's got a perfect balance of okay, here's my expertise, here's my specialties. I'll be the boss when we're in these areas, and not because I want to be, but because this is what makes things flow without hindrance. And she's like, at other times, you're the boss of everything. In these, she's like, that's how we live back home. And I said, because I like when you're the boss. And she's like, she came over to me and she's like, I like when you're the boss. I said, because I trust you. She's like, I trust you. She's like, I trust you to tell me what you really think about that dance that I created. With dance, it's very necessary to have a sort of street perspective of the dance, of a untrained dancer who's just the audience. Like Maria's like, that's the final adjustment. The observer. Like, Maria is the ultimate artist. Like, she taught me, like, Joe, the observer effect is what you're talking about. You know what I mean? When you're creating things by yourself and you're like, there's something mystical happening with me writing this music or writing this story or writing this lyrics, it's because the true self is doing it through you. Like that is the mystical other dimension that you're trying to tap into is actually you. And look, it's unexplainable. When I really met my true self, I was like, and he was like, but I am you. And I literally said, why didn't you tell me this earlier? In the energy, man, it was me. I swear to the gods. He said to me, it had to be as it is. It was meant to be exactly like it was. And I was like, I guess you're right. Because Maria realigned my perspective, my understanding of why I signed up to come here. I absolutely motherfucking hate it's a school I came to learn in. Shut up. Like, that's so general and broad. Like, fuck. That says nothing to me. And it's not a school. It's a person. And that's God's Bliss, Goddess Bliss, America, New Age, Christ consciousness kind of separation talk like that. They don't know who they're fucking talking about, because I guarantee you, man, individual to individual, I guarantee you, these people don't know Lucifer, because he would never deal with such boring fake cunts. Like, he's not dealing with any fucking fake spirituality. And also, he's got no time for people who are afraid of plants. I mean, the whole American Christ consciousness fucking bullshit is, we don't need plants. We're above you. We're beyond you. You know what you sound like? Oh, you're chosen, aren't you? You're better than us. That's why you don't need mushrooms. But when you get sick, what do? You go to plants. But you don't like the magic ones. Right? You would never smoke tobacco. I mean, God, that's for fucking Hoosiers. Like Maria Orsic. Like she said, I literally have a bong that I smoke tobacco out of. And a bong I smoke marijuana out of. But she said, I'll dance. We'll dance, a whole dance, and I'll go take a few puffs off the tobacco water bong while I'm dancing. She said it's like a great balancer for me. She's like, She said, Freud and the marketers, Edward Bernays. Maria was telling me this. I knew this, and she was referencing it. They said, we're going to advertise cigarettes to women, and you can see why Maria's offended. We're going to advertise cigarettes to women, and we're going to subliminally put in the advertisements that the cigarette is a dick, And all women want to suck dicks because they're all shiksas. You know? Kabbalah whore. Hebrew for whore. And Maria told me, just for me, you know, a girl who started smoking tobacco when she was 12, it's exactly the opposite. She's like, I have the tobacco in my mouth because it's magic and it's changing the vibration of every cell in my body, and I'm communicating with the tobacco back and forth, right? She's like, I can't say that about any dick on earth. So if I seen a dick, it's more like that I would be like, I'd rather have a cigarette. She said when I looked at most, like she said, "No, really, you're gonna trick me into buying cigarettes with dirty public dicks, disgusting commercial filth. You're gonna seduce me with commercialized, The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry nonsense." And I'm sorry, I don't know more modern. I just know it all sucks so much. If it's Yahweh approved, it sucks. There's the exceptions, of course. And to keep you spending money, they got to keep you fake. They can't have you rational and saying, why am I spending this money? It's so out of the book 1984. They just keep telling us, oh, the numbers are good. The numbers are good. The numbers are good. There's 15% increase in the chocolate ration. And like Maria said, in America, they want to be the hero, the healer, the shaman. And right, unashamedly confess without the sufferation, without the price, without, doing 600 mushroom rituals does, or what it did to me. It made me, in a practical way, completely true and transparent. I'm not ashamed of my roots and my true self. I'm not ashamed of who I am. In the, identity, the deepest identity, like Maria said, we don't mean to sound crude, but we could say it like this. Like she said, no, we can't. She wants me to say it this way because it's the most real way, because there's an animalistic, like she said, just explain it one more time, Joe. Just like I explained to you. There's a natural, this comes from the sun in the sky. There's a natural libido to carry on the species. Then there's a astral, supernatural libido that makes you want to have an orgasm for the experience of it, for the experience of the pleasure. Like she said, okay, orgasm, the energy, let me say it that way, the energy for the orgasm for your own pleasure has a point where something sort of takes over subtly, or, it depends on each individual person, but they're, like Maria said, she asked me if I experience this. She said, it's sort of like you're going and going, but something picks you up and turns the corner, and you say, I'm going to come. She's like, you might not say it with your mouth, but the thoughts. That supernatural energy, which is actually natural, but it's being processed by you to make it supernatural, delivers you to the orgasm space. It releases the energy. Right? And like she said, the St. Louis modern way of saying it would be that what gets you off? What triggered the corner? There was something that was like, okay, it's like almost like a machine trying to fit together, and all of a sudden it locks on some thought, and it may be passing. It may, you know what I mean? It may just be a lightning bolt from the thought, or it may be more meditative on the thought into the next phase, right? That thought, like Maria says, that goes back to your true self and your essence. She said, no matter how wild the thought is, it's not evil. There is no good or evil in your own thoughts at that level. Like she said, that's like the only thing they can't take from you. They can brainwash you to no end. They can abuse you, molest you, rape you. But they can never, this is how bad this world is. And, it's disgusting. It's just terrible that, you see, the most powerful thing has been shamed and put aside for some other center. In America, they're like, yeah, sports. Like Maria said, really? Really? We're really going to have to talk on that level of like, we're going to compare what can be learned in the space of the eternal orgasm to beating somebody's head in, smashing somebody's chest, smashing somebody's fucking legs. I'm so done with this whole thing, whole way. The American nightmare. And let's just switch gears real quick into Candace Owens. There's a thing called, and let me just give a little background. I know people are like, what the fuck are you? We're researchers. What the fuck are you talking about? Believe the people who are really in control are complete. They are the inventors and implementers of the internet. Who do you think ran the cables under the ocean and shit? everything you see from them is a magic show. I'm not saying people don't get killed and blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about the meta meaning, the symbolic, esoteric magic of it. I'm talking about the magic that's coming off of this controlled world. It's completely, totally controlled by the United States military. And like right now, they're using that big military machine to like point it at Russia and provoke Russia and go, come on, test us. We got these new super weapons and shit. You want us to test them on you, motherfucker? We ain't show. American military is saying they know that the Russians can hear them on the internet and shit. They're saying to them, yeah, go ahead and fuck with us. We got these energy weapons. Your entire platoons will just disappear in a vaporized second. And all that will be left is their uniforms, and people will think it was the rapture. You know, and they'll laugh, you know. Because they're like, we're the ones who wrote the Left Behind Christian fucking dorky ass. We're gonna disappear because Jesus is coming back. Yeah. And you know, if you've been listening to this and you still fuck with that, you're retarded. Shame on you. You have no respect for your ancestors or your gods or goddesses. That's why you have none. I talk to people and I'm like, oh, you do magic? Priscilla Vogelsanger, the author, she was in touch with real fucking goddesses and shit. I've met people that I genuinely believed, man, this girl's talking to someone like Maria. You know, and I meet people and they're in touch with nothing. They're in touch with nothing but Western New Age. Fucking, I don't see anything there. No substance there, you know. It's commercialized. It's Eckhart Tolle, you know. And, you know, people don't have the power, like Candace Owens, to fully rebel against everything that doesn't make sense. I will not, you know, I'm not going to get fooled. I'm not going to make myself look foolish. I get all over-exaggerate, you know. We all know about over-exaggerated self-importance, right? Don't we all agree that sucks in someone? You know, you're like, God damn, you know, I kind of like that person, but they literally cannot see anything outside of their own fucking tiny, miserable. I mean, when it's so tiny, it's automatically miserable to me. I'm like, motherfucker, you're not even in reality. You know? You're not even in the reality of knowing that reality is an illusion. You think this is real, and you think real life sucks this much because you're making it suck this much. Especially in America. In America, I mean, it's just plain simply, most people won't work. You know? They're like, yeah, life is about free time. You know, so that the price they pay is for more free time. And I mean, isn't that a slave mentality completely? When Massa say we free, that's when we having fun. When Massa say we free, I mean, literally. And it all worked together because when I had my first out-of-body experience, you know, completely, I thought I died. I thought I completely fucking died. I was so living physically in another world. When I came back, at least, you know, for a month or so, I was telling all kinds of people. I was asking people what they thought it meant. And let me tell you, I knew a lot of people at the time. I knew hundreds of people at the time that did, Grateful Dead people, and no one said to me like, let me bring you to this shaman or what. I mean, there was none. There was no shamans. I want to say we're too poor, but we're just too simple. I mean, my mom was just a retarded, simple person. She was so simple that she's retarded. You know what I mean? She just like cleaned the house and did, all the normal shit that a housewife does or whatever. Cooks and sat in front of the TV. She had no real, like prayer life or Christian spiritual life, which I don't really blame her, but the conviction to something. Like, to me, I look and I'm just like, damn, how does this happen? How does someone, come to be like, well, I'm just waiting to die? Like, what? And, my friend was being tortured so much that he couldn't live any longer. And you might think those are the same polarities, but they're actually opposite. One person is like, I'm so comfortable in this miserable vibe, I'll probably live to be 80 or 90 years old. And the other person is like, it's like being stuck with pins and needles. I cannot go on another fucking day. That's polarity. That's opposites. They kind of sound the same, but they're opposites. Right? In my whole thing, and I've, like Marie said, you're getting better. My whole thing for saying that, remember, was, did I sign up to come here because it's a great school for spiritual lessons? My spirit goes, womp, womp, womp. No, man, those words strung together are boring. It's like, shut up with your school spiritual lessons bullshit. It's like, I just feel like I'm coming from like the Palestinian point of view of like, your country just killed my fucking kids. Don't tell me it's a goddamn school. Oh yeah, for you, because you got your nice house and your fucking fake ass everything. I guess it is just a spiritual school, yeah. More like a goddamn living nightmare. A geopolitical, choreographed, fucking scripted nightmare. Look, they just march towards killing all of us, no matter what anyone says. They just march towards war with Russia, just provoke to no end. It's been 5 years, really since 2014, of just complete, totally provoking Russia into a global World War III. Because really it's just World War II going on still. And this is how bad of a traitor, evil, stupid, ugly America is. That the very people who helped us win the war, that we wouldn't have won the war without. We would have lost the war without the Russians, no matter what, for sure, no doubt. We turned on them, stabbed them in the back, stole their money. You know what? America is fully, totally represented as a clear, crystal clear, in gangster rap. The whole attitude of, I'll just steal your shit and kill you and take your soul even. Just terrible, horrible, evil. They came out with this like 666, violent, evil. I'm chosen. I choose who lives and dies. Nigga, I'll shoot you. I'll kill you. I'll take your shit. And the very essence of being proud of that is so bad, so devastating on the atmosphere. It's just manifesting. Trump is the biggest N-word president. He's a literal, living real estate N-word. He's a fucking literal cocksucker. I don't know how many times I said it over and over. He literally sucks cocks. I said he was in my videos years ago before this email came out, and if I didn't say it's November 22nd, 11/22, 2025, and if I didn't say it, I know I said in my video, he's a Studio 54, like, weird frat boy, closeted fantasy gay guy. I know it sounds absurd, but you just seen an email come out from Jeffrey Epstein saying Putin has pictures of Trump sucking cock. Just forget that, they said Bubba and they think Clinton, but it's more likely that's just a word for somebody, that they both know who it is. And believe me, let me just say it this way. I know people like no one listens to you, but let me say it this way. The picture most likely is of a young man. A young, you get my drift. And then now, Mr. Studio 54, spring break, party at the beach. I'm the rich guy. I buy pussy. I grab him by the pussy. Now you see why that guy is a complete, total slave to the script, because not that he is a slave to the script. He has always been part of it. He's always been part of the plan. He's always was his life was prophesied. You know how I know that? His life is in the Matrix. He's one of those people, who were born right in that strange time of like 1947, 1948, when Maria says the world ended. And I know that it did because I've seen many memories of myself in the future. Yeah, that's right, memories of myself in the future, because you're in technology. And it's clearly a different world. And it's clearly. And, I'm not talking like one or two memories I had. This whole podcast is about the memories I've had. You might call it a before life before the Matrix, right? Life before the Matrix with Mama Orsic. And it is a wild, crazy ride that we're on with the American nightmare, right? And we are, as I was saying, a trinity. The true self in heaven, or nirvana, if you like. A plane of existence where he's or she is totally, completely safe. In some senses, alone by choice. In other senses, they've become one with other people in a most magical, unreal way. And, right. So let's put all that on the table and see if this makes sense to you. So this was probably like the 4th or 5th ritual. I said to the Missouri River goddess, I just called her the goddess. At that point, I didn't even know her Magick name, which is such a beautiful name too. And then we love you so much, Maria. For real, you're so beautiful, pretty too. Right? If it's not a school to learn spiritual lessons for me, I asked her, why am I here? I said, am I just here to like experience this shit and then the test is returning home? Like, and she's like, Joe, settle down. You're not being tested in that way. It's not a technicality. It's just who you are. Who are you is what you're being tested. And this is very ancient. It's like based on like ancient ways. And it's like for you to also study like, why would your avatar be doing this? And at the same time, out in the world, you're not totally your true self. I mean, far from it. You know? That's what I was learning. Like, damn, dude, I didn't truly just met myself in 2011. So for 42 years, I thought I knew myself. And what I mean is, like, it went to a different awareness. Like, I became aware of, like, hold on. This is crazy. Like Maria said, she quoted Madonna. There's a time when everyone must stand alone. Like beyond the gods, beyond your teacher, beyond everything. And see who you are. And like she said, you've been brainwashed to be afraid of that. But it's okay. Like your attitude should be, this is the truth I was looking for. It's not going to, like, the revelation of who I really am isn't going to be good or bad. I swear a lot of the girls I initiated, they had this thing of like, I know it's going to be revealed that I'm bad, that I'm a bad person. This is how brainwashed everyone is. Because they're like, I did something bad, like in America, like American girls were so absolutely brainwashed to have abortions. Like almost every girl I've ever known, has had it's not your fault. You were a kid, they fucking brainwashed you. Or even if you were a little older, you were fucking born into this and brainwashed into it. You can't let one mistake that was not fair. It's just plain and simply, it's not fair. You don't have any context. When you're told this is your choice, you have no context. So you can't, I'm not saying you have no responsibility whatsoever, but you cannot blame, fuck. You want a percentage? It's 99.9% their fault. All they had to teach you was This is a human being. No matter what, you don't do that. No matter what, it will be okay. No matter what, you're never to endanger your own life, to kill something, like, it's okay though. You understand? You're not the one. And even if you were brainwashed so deep into being someone who was like an abortion activist, even still, someone brainwashed you. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean you're evil. It totally means you were born into it, and it just took this long to realize it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean any more about your essence. Matter of fact, I am speaking to everyone who knows what I'm talking about. You have to lose spiritually, mentally, everything to win in the other world. Like, I mean, literally. I am telling you from experience, you have to lose everything. And you're like, well, that sucks. I don't want, but there's no other balance. There's no other way. There's no other way to get out of here for our people. Like, you might be like, well, look at Miguel Serrano. He's a great winner, right? He was born into a rich family, well educated, but he like rebelled against it all, and he was like, no, I'm an artist. And he had his jobs besides writing books, his art, not his job. He was a like diplomat, ambassador, from the Chilean government. And, when that ended, his job, his family's influence ended. His like money source, I'm sure, ended. And listen, I understood everything when it took me years, but when I understood the book of Resurrection, the book of Resurrection, Miguel Serrano's book, I realized this, that none of that mattered. It didn't, none of it. He could have been born in a shack in Jamaica. And this story happens in a shack in Jamaica. And I've come on behalf of those people to tell how this story transcends everything. That Miguel Serrano is absolutely 100% with the man and woman who were born into the shack in Jamaica and lifting their self out of it. Right? Like Maria said, he loves that story. But I never had heard of Miguel Serrano until Maria Orsic told me. I'm Maria Orsic. This was a week after she told me I invented the UFO. Look me up. I lived on Earth during World War II. I was like, oh, what? What? No one knows how much fun I had with her, and she was laughing pretty hard when how I reacted. I think she laughed harder though when I said, I know this might be a dumb question, but are you Anunnaki? And she started laughing. I was like, you know what I mean. Like Sumerian descent. And she's like, Joe, listen. Are you like King Arthur descent? Are you like a descendant of Frodo? Because And I liked her answer. Well, okay. I am a seer. You know, the Nordic gods, Aesir, the Aesir gods, Aesir. I said, what? Literally? And she was like, yeah. There's a character in there based on me as the Queen of Atlantis. You know, she said, it don't say that in there. But that's who I was on Earth when this myth was written, and the author of the myth told me his intent was to, like, secretly reflect me in the character Nana, Baldur's wife. I was like, are you serious or are you fucking with me? Because she was laughing so hard, she was almost crying. Anunnaki, she was like, Anunnaki, are you so funny? And I was like, I know something. I knew, I had read the Nordic myths at this time. But I think I only read it once. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look up Nana. And, man, dude, I had a supernatural thing. Like, from the moment it said, like, Baldur's wife was Nana. And she was, in my mind, it was like they were talking about, like, the golden one from Ayn Rand's book, Anthem, And they were like, she was always 100% with them. They were one, they loved each other truly. They were magic. And, when Baldur died, Nana, they did a funeral pyre on a ship. And when they lit the funeral pyre to, push the ship out, or the boat out into the ocean or whatever, to the sea or whatever, she ran and jumped in the fire and killed herself with him, And the next week I was like, oh my God, like, that's so crazy, like, you didn't literally. And she was like, well, I did. I was like, huh? And she's like, Joe, she's like, my goddess is Diana. And I switched bodies with her the first time the technology happened. And I do every time. It's all repeating. 4.5 million years of real-time Earth history, like, repeats and cycles. And she said, when I was Donna, she said, Joe, she said, I had for many hundreds of years been one with Lou and Donna. And she's like, not till I lived as Donna. She's like, Joe, you have no idea who that lady is. She had 9 children. By the time she was like in her mid-30s, she had 9 children. like Maria said, she had her first child before she was 16 years old. 15, almost 16 years old. Just like, oh, damn. And she's like, she is like so magic, so flowing with nature. She's like, I had no idea. She's like, Joe, I had no idea. I was living in the simulation until I died. I never realized it the whole 196 years. She's like, I lived 196 years. She said, believe it, I was old. She said there was people that lived over 150, but no one lived to be 200. And she said this is like approximately like almost like 1,000,000 years before the start of the smaller man and the restarting of the human race in history as we know it. Right? She's like, this is where the pyramids were built, when the pyramids were built. In the age of the giants. And they had a great energy nuclear war. And then there was like a cleanup, pause in man, not animals. Animals went on, some of them. And then man, was restarted by the giants in the first time real reality. That's how, like, men got to be like 6 foot tall instead of 8 foot tall, on average. And everything got smaller. Because when it was restarted by the human beings who destroyed it, they made everything smaller so that, we wouldn't have to eat as much, drink as much, and all that, so it would be easier. They thought it would be easier. And they thought they'd be able to give us technology quicker, because they had to develop it themselves. Now they could give it to us from another level. And like Lou said, just point blank, the smaller man was evil, was more evil than we were. Like any technology we gave them, they used it against their enemies and would just destroy it. We gave them any kind of building technology, they would eventually, destroy each other, fighting over the technology of who gets to own it, who gets the rights to it, who gets the copyright, the trademark. And I've told this story before, but, just for the sake of saying it, what she meant was Donna, after Lou died, very old also, Donna went on as like one of the greatest woman healers of all of history. And it was crazy. I talked about how in these talks, I talked about how I did this interview with, I call her my sister. And Maria was like, settle down to me. But the next day I was like, dude, I feel so embarrassed. Like I was so blown away by everything that was happening that I didn't even think about how, and now it doesn't matter, but I didn't think about, like how absurd I would sound to someone else. But like one of the things, one of the first things I said was like recently, I like met and talked to Lou is Lucifer's wife, Donna, for like a while. And like her telling me part of her story, that she lived to be really old and that she had like developed this like oneness with vril energy, that's even beyond sex. It is living permanently, in a part of you in the eternal orgasm. And like Donna was telling me, like Joe, like the healing, physical healing of sickness that people need so bad, like poor people that can't afford treatments. She said it was the same anywhere you went. A great doctor is going to want money, and it's going to be also taken advantage of by people who want to market him or whatever. I was like, no, I get it. I totally get it. She was like, I have become so powerful at doing this. Like she said, you would call it like energy healing. And she was like, she was telling me how this had something to do with Aquarius, right? And the hands that carry the water. And she was like, my hands had become totally supernatural. She was like, I was, like lost track of time and space. I spent like hours and hours a day just putting my hands on people and saying magic words and leaving my body. She was like, I would, do it for so long. I would start to separate from the whole scene. And, let me just say right here, if anyone wants to know, the whole idea of the higher self, the true self, it was, made mainstream, made in literature, put into words, because it's ancient as everything. But it was put for us in a way we could understand it by Lou and Donna. Like, they are all father and all mother. And I can't explain it. Like, what you thought was God, like this power that's coming from somewhere, you're like, dude, that had to be God. Like, I was saved in this accident or whatever. It was either your true self or it was Lou and Donna. They're the gods of this world in like a way that I had to be introduced to. I had no context for this exactly. You are in a holographic technological simulation. You're really laying on Venus, plugged into this technology. And you're experiencing in real time what you thought was absolutely real life, right? And it had to be introduced to me, but it took me a while. But these are the components. Your imagination is more than you thought. It's not for pretend, it's for creating reality. You automatically do it. You create reality by playing out almost every single situation, even small ones. Playing out every single last possibility available. in all of data, all of the Akashic records, right? And your imagination is interacting with the technology and with everyone else that's plugged into what? What is the technology? How is the earth there? The technology that brings the reality in your experience is also connected to the imaginations of Lucifer and Diana Dana, or you could say Shiva and Shakti, or Shiva and Parvati. And that is what makes you see life. They're that powerful, and they aren't true. They're, as far as I know, they're like hidden, but they're not. They're there, and they're not. They're certainly the sweetest, nicest people I've ever met, and I understood everything they ever said about why there's suffering in this world and why they can't do anything about it. Because, okay, you want a quick explanation? Number one, the very people, every last one of them, who were spiritually responsible for ending the earth world of the smaller man, they are here. They are also on beds in Venus, locked down to the bed, and they are forced in their minds to be here in the simulation. And it's like a Lu's way of keeping an eye on them forever. And the power of imagination is actually, if you want, like, if I said to Maria years ago, how about this? One word to describe the true self. She said imagination. That's your essence. Your essence, the best next word is imagination. Like that's what it's like in the, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but most people in the nirvana state are these like ultra artists of all kinds. Clothing. Like Maria said, I don't think cooking is a art, but I certainly think clothing design is, designing clothing is an art. She's like, it can get so, personal that you're like, wow, you know me. She's like, I've had, some of my favorite people on earth make me things to wear, and I demanded to pay for them. She said that I literally cried when I looked at it. And I was like, you're such a good friend. That you made me something that is like supernaturally lets me know you know me. Okay, now for the word on Candace Owens, coming from Mama Orsic. All right, for years we've been saying Candace Owens is going to be at the heart of this whole thing because she's been chosen by the banker world order, the Thelemist. Let's call them Thelemist. They're running the world. The Thelemist are. She's been chosen as this sort of Pocahontas symbol of like set up as the hero to be a absolute plan to have them have a tragic death to like kind of destroy the hope of the indigenous native people. Okay? Why Candace Owens? She's I shouldn't say kind of. She literally has become a very strange crossroads, right? Because she's Catholic, she's become a cross where people meet in the middle, where they cross between Christians, Catholics, because most Christians don't, they have their thing. It usually isn't the Catholics that have the thing here in America. It's usually the Christians that have the thing like, we don't really consider Catholics saved. Okay, so she brings all of them together, including the Patriot. Okay, so she brings all sectors of Christianity together with truth, and she brings the patriots who want the truth, the people who don't even know. They're like the good old boys. You hear me? They're the good old boys. What do I mean? The patriot absolutely stands on the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. You know what I mean? Jefferson, Washington, not the Bible. The Bible is a spiritual thing for the patriot. The Constitution is what you go by in reality. It keeps us all safe, Christians and everyone alike. That's the freedom of religion. And I was talking about how many times in, I think it was 2020, it might even been all the way back to 2016, that I would be doing my ritual, and Maria would say, "Who are you going to vote for?" And I specifically after, I knew Trump was going to, that the election was going to be stolen, and this was, I was like, Candace Owens and Dave Smith. I literally wrote on Facebook, Candace Owens for president. There was like a group or something like Candace Owens for president. I'd vote for her in a second. I would help her. I would, and listen, you hear how I would tell her to her face, I hate what your church did to my ancestors, but I like you as a person. And, someone might be like, well, you rage against it, but I'm willing to work with people to save children's lives and my own grandchildren's lives. Like I said, the patriot, which I am, puts that stuff aside, all spiritual things. It says, how the fuck we gonna be spiritual if we're slaves to King George or the New World Order or the American military or the American government, whatever? We won't have no time to be motherfucking spiritual. It's just that simple. And so I've been sitting and watching the story develop as Maria Orsic has been giving me commentary on Candace Owens' life. Until finally, I'll go from here and I'll go backwards, right? Finally, after years, okay, and Yay West also, and I see Yay West. I mean, we're the ones. We're the ones since 2012, saying Hitler was not a monster. Hitler was not a bad person, and they're lying, really lying, right? And we watch Yay West, and then we see Candace, befriend Yay West. And then we see Yay West obviously influence Candace to wake up to the bankers and what they're doing. And it culminates in one crazy, most important night of my life, May 5th, 2024, when Maria says to me, I'm shaking with energy. I'm like, what is going on? Something's here. I'm like, Maria, something's like in our field, and I didn't know if it was good or bad. She just kept saying, can you see me? Can you see me yet? Because she knew when I seen her, I would know. Okay, something's going on. Something good. Right? And she said to me, it was like I was starting to kind of leave my body. I was laying in the bed, but I was like shaking with energy, which I never, ever, ever do. And I wasn't panicking at all. It was just a lot of energy. And she's like, Joe, there's something you're supposed to say. I go, what? There is? And I go, Maria, there's like so much energy. I don't know what you mean. She's like, there are magic words that you have to say, you're supposed to say. And I go, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know them. Then I'm not going to be able to do this. And she's like, Joe, whatever comes to your mind. And as she was saying, mind, the word Candace Owens came out of my mouth. And she smiled at me and she said, yeah, and there's one more. And I went, Yay West. Right? And when everything changed, she said, and she had these two beautiful braids in her hair. She said, look at me. I said, yeah. And she said, because we had already talked about Candace Owens many times from 2016 or 2015 on. She said to me, Joe, Candace Owens. And I went, yeah, you're right. Can dance. And she's like, let's bless her. Let's bliss her. Right? So let me work backwards from there. Because her name was like a magic word that opened the doors of perception. Right? Let me just work backwards so since 2024, she really became, a great person for Palestine, for, basically all children being killed in war. Is the biggest podcast on earth right now, 2025, 11/22. And she was sucked into what Maria is factually a branch of the process church called the Church of the Sub-Genuis. It's like a paramilitary death squad, spiritual warrior church group. I don't even know if they have anything on the surface anymore. But they are a magical group that is connected to the military and the heads of the whole world in the banker system, Israel and so forth. American high finance and everything else. And they have a religion or we could call it a church of the sub-genius, with a religion of manifesting the absurd through chaos magic, through their goddess Eris. They would kind of be the opposite of Donna, right? A real woman, a powerful woman who knows who she really is. Probably Crowley's wife, maybe. One of them, who knows? Or McGregor's wife, or one of those, people who are very much with Crowley. But, they're, and they're producing the literal narrative of absurdism, right? They've chosen this is what they do. I was trying to think of, it's hard to put in words, but they're like a magical group doing, sex magic, ritualistic human sacrifice, and everything else. And they've chosen Candace Owens as like a heroic symbol, like Pocahontas. And she's not a symbol for black people. She's a symbol for liberated black people. Like black people who have adopted individualism to an extent that it can actually meet back in a circle where they meet their true self and go, back to their people in Africa. Like, I would love to go back to my people wherever they are. Ireland it's Christian and Catholic and shit, so it doesn't look like Ireland to me. But what's wild about black people is Africa is the least messed with. If anyone can go back to their people, it's black people. And that's part of the reason why Candace Owens was absolutely targeted. She's always, let me give her my sympathy and my love. Like, I am totally 100%, speaking protection over her. And I love her for what she's doing. I do feel like, how dare you, side with the Christians to kill my ancestors, but, it's like Maria said, we can put that aside. It doesn't bother us. We can live in the now, and we appreciate what she's doing, and I love her as a person. Not that I know her or anything, but how she is on air, like, I respect her. That's the best word to use. I respect her. And she was always targeted, as many people were, because we're in this technology. They've been doing this a long time. They know how to spot people right away from their astrology. By the time you're 3 months old, they're very, very much. By the time you're 3 months old, they're very much convinced. They know if you would possibly rebel against them, because it's really only like 1 in 1,000 that will fully rebel back to the point of, who the fuck am I? What am I? Who am I? Where am I? When? Now. If I'm gonna live after I die, what the fuck is going to happen? And I'm telling you, maybe you should turn me off right now and go have your experience. You know what I mean? I'm not saying follow me, just listen to me. Go do it. Go fucking do it. I mean, I'm not really in contact with many people who are listening. I would, I'm open to be, but if we were talking in real life, I would say to you, there's only one way to learn. You cannot learn by just information. You have to experience the information. Right? And so Candace Owens becomes the target of the Church of the Sub-Genuis. They're manifesting absurdism. And they put her in touch with the President of the United States. This is a true, go look it up, follow her, whatever. Look up her, she's got an episode like Trump, she talked to Trump. Trump called her on the phone. This is no lie. And she said other people called her and tried to confirm this, that her, now listen to this riddle, people. You tell me in the comments what this fucking means. Listen to this riddle. Ronald McDonald, the Trump, tells Candace Owens, you talking about the French president's tranny wife is prolonging the Russian war. And because of you, we can't have peace. This is the move, an act of magic. That was an act of magic. You know how I know that? The facts are Russia are fighting the Ukrainians out of the Russian territories of Ukraine because in 2014, the revolutionary forces that now control Ukraine murdered 14,000 innocent civilians. The facts are it has nothing to do with Candace Owens. And yet here is, and Maria's telling me that this is going to happen to her. I already said she's going to be at the center of this, but it's a clown show. And here she is with an episode saying, Donald Trump called me, the most powerful man in the world, and said my podcast is keeping Ukrainians fighting and people dying. Instead of her recognize that as Church of the Sub-Genuis fucking Magick, she don't know what to think, because she don't have anyone like me around her to explain what these people are doing on other levels. Her priest isn't a shaman. And so, right, that happens, and they're like, hey, check this out, Candace Owens, in front of the whole world. We're saying it's your fault the war is continuing. You hear me? This is a fact. Go look it up. Donald Trump and other people told Candace Owens, because you're fucking with the French president's tranny wife and exposing her to the world is causing the Ukrainian-Russian war to continue. Everyone should go. Man, that is absurdist chaos magic. That's the mark of Eris right there. It's absurd. Because we know the facts about why the war really started. This is exactly what happened in World War II. The facts of why the war was started was completely obscured. And the real facts were that these people in Poland kept killing the Germans in the territories that were given to them after World War I. after World War I, they took German-speaking cities and German people and put them under Polish control. And they started fucking killing them, looting them, and picking on them. This is how it really, really started. And Vladimir Putin said exactly this as the very first thing he said in Tucker Carlson's interview with Vladimir Putin. Look it up. Look it up. He said all Hitler wanted was the territories where the Germans was back, and they did all of this fucking bullshit and provoked him. This whole giant war started because all Hitler said is quit killing German people for no goddamn reason. And they're like, no. We're chosen. We'll kill whoever we want. And you're like, well, how are America and Britain chosen? It's called Christian identity, right? They got a bunch of like prison Hoosier Nazis believing this stuff as a cover. But Christian identity is like the Hoosier version of the absolute truth that they say they're Jews and they're not, because they're actually British and other... It's like a cult. It's a literal cult that calls themselves Jewish when they know that they're not with the... This is the tricky part. Listen, people. Well, how's this tricky? They call themselves Jews, but they're not with the 100% approval of the Kabbalist evil bankers. Are supporting the fake Jews. The Kabbalist Magick perverted bankers are supporting and playing with them. Whole game of we're the chosen and you're our adopted son, the new chosen. Because on a meta level, we're all God over ourselves. That's exactly what they say, nigger. Exactly. And this is all a crazy giant show where they're like, hey, America thought it got away from the British Empire, but we tricked America into being our military hammer and sacrificial, violent son. That, listen, who do they hate? Man, everyone hates England, but I guarantee you, by the end of this, people will hate America 1,000 times more.
Underneath the moonlit sky, feel the vibe. Island breezes whisper low like a life tribe. Nana dance to the night, heart so free. With every sway and step, she's a melody. Roots in the soil, love's the only guide. Na 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 na, guide us home. River of amor, flowing through our veins. True self reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwine, dancing in refrain. In sunshine, we never lost, just found echoes of laughter. We grew to that sound. Colors of the sunset paint the ocean deep. With Nana's spirit, we're awake, never sleep. In your name we rise, no need to hide. The river speaks, it knows our name. Through every wave, we're called to reclaim. River of amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwine, dancing in refrain. Sun flooded up and you shine, forever bright in the rhythm of love we ignite.